let's start out and introduce yourself to our site visitors at popculturemadness.com.
Sure, I'm Kimberly. I play guitar and sing in One Eye Doll.
And I'm Junior. I play drums in One Eye Doll. And I produce most of our albums.
Yeah, that's actually how we met. Yeah, he produced my first studio album, and then my second, and then my third, and then my fourth, and then he joined the band.
Nice. So is it hard for you to switch hats like that?
No.
No.
I think as a producer, you know, I made my first album in '91, and it's kind of my job to teach everyone how to play their instrument. You know.
It's true.
They come in the studio, and every you know, for the studio, and it's different live. You know, when you play live, you can really you know, express yourself, do whatever you want to do, and as long as you've got the energy, it, you know, comes across really well. In the studio, there's a lot of magic and tricks and things that you have to do to kind of recreate that live sound.
But without being sloppy.
You know, as if it were
character without.
Well, just as if it were coming through a, you know, when you're in a show, a big live show, you got this giant PA, and you've got to represent that sound and the visual side of it and everything through a little tiny car speaker or whatever, or your little tiny headphones. And there's a lot of tricks that you use in the studio to do that. So pretty much everyone has to adjust their playing style in the studio in order to kind of, you know, to get there. So my experience as a producer kind of made me hone my skills in every instrument, the drums and the, you know, the bass, the guitar, you know, pretty much everything. So
no, I'm sure it makes you more critical of things too. Like you can kind of pick things apart and hear things a little differently.
Yeah, I think you know, it just gives you a different perspective of what's really important. I think, you know, I think a lot of times new bands get sucked into the marketing, you know, the Guitar Center ads that tell you that you need to have this amp in order to be a rock star, or you need to have, you know, this drum set or whatever. And it really isn't the case. So, like, you can make any instrument sound good. It's like, you know, it's a relationship between you and your instrument. So kind of teaching that, coaching people into you know, their own little thing. That's what I spent most of my professional career doing. So kind of jumping into playing drums was more natural than I thought it would be, even though I'm really a guitar player.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He's you know, he's been in bands all his life, but like lead guitar mostly, and keys. He played keys in a band. So this was, I believe, the first band that he's been a drummer in, and it just sort of fell into place. We were actually, I was going in to record my new album with him, and we were trying to work out some parts. You know, it was basically one of those albums that I was going to sort of write as I went in the studio, and so I was working out these parts, and so one day he just said, I had some song that was in a weird meter. Apparently, I don't realize I'm writing in a weird meter. I guess he knows though.
The song "Beautiful Freak" has a breakdown in it that the chorus is actually in 13/8. So, and it's a really bizarre kind of odd time signature, and the drummer that was in the band at the time wasn't really grasping that, and so we kind of jammed it out. And
yeah, he said, well, let's just sit down. There's a drum kit, you know, in the garage or whatever. Let's just jam it out so I know where you're coming from, so I can, you know, do whatever I need to do to make the parts right.
Yeah,
and
basically,
so
I was going to learn the song so that I could coach the drummer on how to play the song.
Yeah, exactly, because you know, it's something that I've been trying to work out for months, but, you know, it wasn't happening, and so, yeah, I was like, well, if he could figure out the parts, then he can teach the drummer, and then he'll be able to play it on the album, and then, you know, he'll be able to help him through it or something. Well, he sat down on the kit and, like, nailed it. I got, you know, not even halfway into the song, and he was playing the song correctly, you know, like the way that it was in my head. And I realized, you know, after several years of working together in the studio, he knows my music better than anybody does. And I'd never thought about jamming with him. You know, I always was playing to him, and he was recording me and making me sound better. But yeah, the Beautiful Freak thing just, well, kind of freaked me out. I was like, wow, this is how easy it could be, you know? Like, this guy can just play my songs the way that they need to be played. Like, he has this ability to And I think this translates on stage now. But he has this, he's always had this ability to take my emotions and help to turn them into sound in a recording, you know? And that's become what he is as a drummer, too. He's able to, like, amplify the, you know, everything, the dynamics of, because I'm really kind of a bipolar sort of writer, you know? Things are really quiet, and then they're really loud, and then they're really sad, and they're really happy. I guess this is how I am. And he's able to, like, really hone in on, and I feel like you can hear my heart more when I'm playing with him, or when we're recording together. And it's been really cool this past 2 years. Is it 2 years now?
Yeah, it's been almost 2.5 years now since I joined.
Yeah, God's just flown by. I feel like it's still a month, you know, like we're still figuring it out or something. But it's been a really nice 2 years because I've just never had that. I've never had that. I thought that it was difficult, and I thought it was hard, you know, and, you know, have somebody who can just feel me out and have no problem with it. It's just awesome.
Well, I mean, when that chemistry comes together and it just gels, right? I think you just know, like, whether or not you're expecting it or not.
I really didn't know it was possible. I just thought I was hard to work with.
So, well, we made our first
I am in other ways, but...
We made our first album together in 2006, and then in 2010, Kimberly got an email from someone who wanted to produce our next album, and she was like, "No, you know," she's just thinking.
I get those emails all the time,
You know,
and it's
she's
like,
like, "Oh, we already have our, you know, producer. It's cool." And but she forwarded me the email anyway because the producer was a girl, and it turns out that this producer was Sylvia Massey, the legendary Sylvia Massey, who is.
keep talking.
Sylvia has made. She made 2 Tool albums. She made the first System of a Down album. She did the last Johnny Cash album.
You guys wrote a song for her too, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we have a song called Sylvia that Kimberly wrote for her.
That's awesome.
And our new album, Dirty, that's coming out soon, was recorded in Sylvia's studio.
Nice.
And we made 2 albums there, actually. Dirty is a more kind of psychedelic, 70s inspired, like Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd kind of vibe. And the studio is in Weed. There's a song on the Dirty album called Weed that also is kind of about Sylvia and
Weed,
the studio.
California.
And so,
So are you going to split the releases up, or are you
they're
gonna...
2 albums, yeah.
Okay.
2 separate albums.
Well, more
is,
than 2, actually.
Yeah, we recorded a lot while we were there. It was very inspiring.
She just gave us free reign of the studio. She just asked us not to leave, and so we stayed in her old church that she's turned into a studio.
Oh, wow.
We just stayed there between tours and recorded what we felt, you know, and so all these different things came out of it, and it's more than 2 albums worth actually of stuff. And then we were both guesting on her other albums that she was working on. You know, I'd go sing on one, and he'd go play guitar on the other, and he helped produce one of the albums that was there. You know, Jason's a really amazing producer, and once she heard his stuff, she's like, "Oh, hey, this guy is awesome," you know. So, you know, we just sort of were there, and it was nice.
So was it hard for you to kind of narrow down and decide what made the cut for each album coming up? You know, with so much
we didn't narrow it down. We're releasing it all.
Not really. We sort of we sort of had a vision for each album. You know, the Dirty album is very much like that. Describes every song on the album. It's very thematic. It's that kind of like dirty blues, old, like crusty awesomeness. Where we, you know, it's not, most of it's not to a click. We're playing it together in the same room. You know, the drums and guitar, and it's a lot more kind of live style. But the production is beautiful. I mean, it's like I dare say, but it's very much influenced by, you know, Dark Side of the Moon, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. And then the other one is kind of the polar opposite of that. You know, it's a lot like our previous albums that are like just really like real sharp, real shiny, just loud, very manic. You know, like one album is extremely manic, and then the other one is way down here. So it's that sort of break.
Well, that's great. I mean, it definitely gives audiences a chance to hear both sides of everything.
Yeah, and usually I'll do that within the same album, but these ones, they're split. It's like this one is bright and this one is dark, and that's just the way that those two albums are. And it's they're very extreme in those ways.
So if you had to use 3 adjectives to describe your music to a first-time listener, what would they be?
You'd probably be better at that. I don't know how to describe my own stuff.
It's always
do they have
hard.
to be adjectives? Can they be nouns?
Sure.
Like marshmallows?
Of course. Take your pick.
Frogs?
Frogs. And one of those bramble things that come off of a tree with the spikes.
Oh, like the little spiky balls.
Yeah, and you
Gotcha.
step on them, they hurt real bad, but
Nice.
they're real cool.
Brambly.
Yeah, a bramble.
Okay, that's awesome.
A marshmallow, a frog, and a bramble.
Yeah.
It's so hard when I ask the question to get people to narrow themselves into like one genre or one box. It's almost like those, description of yourself. Like it's so many different things.
People like to say that we're like goth punk, Those things are so, if you go around telling people that you're a punk band, then they're like, no, you're not.
You're not wearing a vest with buttons on it.
Right.
You know? Oi, oi. You don't say oi, oi. So you're not punk. Or you're not goth because you're not wearing all black. Or we're not metal because we're not screaming all the time. So, like, we actually had this problem where, I don't know if I call it a problem, but an issue where none of the different, factions of rock will claim us.
Okay.
Like this happens at the Austin Music Awards every year. We tend to kind of like win several different categories or place in several different things.
Yeah, I
and
was going to say that because you've won awards down there in a variety of different categories.
And then everybody gets upset because, they're not a punk band, they're not one of us, or they're not a metal band, they're not one of us, they're not a goth band, they're not one of us. And so a lot of, other artists sort of,
Hey,
but
it's the talent and the showmanship. So it's and that's
this is a story of my life. Is I've always kind of been the outsider, so I guess it doesn't affect me too much. But I just call it all rock and roll. We're all just expressing ourselves, and however it comes out, it comes out. And if you shouldn't try to lean one way or the other just to fit in with other people and to have friends. I guess I've never been able to do that anyway.
So are you guys sad to be on the road missing a South by Southwest this year?
We'll drive through South by Southwest.
I know, we're at least going to stop and pay tribute to the scene. We're not going to play because it's just the way that this tour has been. All of our days off are being filled in at the last minute, and we're on contract with the tour, and so that's our first priority. But this is the first time since we've both lived in Austin that we haven't played South by Southwest. And we do the underground during South by Southwest. We play Texas Rock Fest.
Oh, okay.
The Headhunters, John Warner Party, and we do all the underground stuff. And nothing that you need a wristband or a badge to get into. It's all free. And so we really like to be a part of that. And this year this tour schedule has been so crazy we haven't been able to. But
Believe me, I feel you. I'm bummed.
I know. You can't be there either.
Yeah.
Hop in with us. We're on our way down that way. We can get on stage together and like say hi to Austin.
Absolutely.
I think that's what I want to do. I just want to stop at Texas Rock Fest and just get on the mic for a second, announce a band, do something just to be there and represent, and then we'll drive to the show that night. But
yeah, we have a show in Dallas on the 16th, which is Friday, like the big Friday of South by Southwest.
yeah.
And then we have a show in San Antonio on the 17th, which is big Saturday. So literally, like, we'll be driving right through Austin during
through Austin,
through the heart of Austin is right in the middle of San Antonio and Dallas. So.
Yeah, and there are times when I feel like we could pull off 2 shows in a day. And so we would try to do that, but it's just been the solid touring we've been doing without going home almost at all for the past, since June or whatever. We haven't really been home. And so I felt like I'm maybe not...
We haven't been home since, like, NAMM of last year. We left January 10th of 2011. From NAMM, we went up to the studio and recorded our albums.
California.
We toured with OTEP in June. We stayed at the studio from there until...
We did our own tour before. We did 2 tours before that.
Tour before that. And then we did OTEP in June. We went back to the studio in July. We toured with Cold and
Wayne
Static X. Yeah, Wayne Static from Static X in the fall.
And then we did another one of our own little tours.
Yeah.
And then the
we did
Mushroom Head
in December. We haven't been home. And then right after...
And then we shot a video in Pennsylvania and New York right after that, and then went home and then left for this. Or left for...
we stop at home and sleep there for like a week, every once in a while. But,
yeah, so it's just been nonstop. And I don't feel like I would be 100% if I tried to do that this time in particular. Like, we've had South by Southwest where we literally played like 10 underground shows that week. We just went, I think we had like 3 shows in one day one time, plus radio, plus TV. We're up at like 6 doing the TV morning show, like, but it's like being on tour in your own town. It's so fun. I just love it. I love how many people are there. I love that just like, there's so much going on. You can just, if you don't actually do a South by Southwest showcase, and you're not in contract for that, you can play as many shows as you want.
I heard that. A lot of bands are saying it's better to go that route. I'm hearing. Like,
I do every time. It's it's kind of how we support our local scene, is by supporting that. What's really going on, and what the locals go to. But in the Austin Music Awards, so we're not doing any of that this year. I can't do it, but.
So
my heart will be there.
How are you enjoying the tour with the Orgy?
Man, honestly, this has been the nicest tour. It's like, the guys are super sweet. They go way out of their way for us. The crew is really, really nice. I love the merch girl, Sarah. She and I are, merch buddies, because I'm our merch girl. And so it's nice to have a girl around, too. And the shows have been really awesome. I feel like our fans get along together and blend together really well. I feel like Orgy fans like our music, and our fans love Orgy. So that's been great. The venues are cool, mostly. This place is amazing. You see this green room? They've got, food for us, and like hot tea, showers. It's beautiful. I don't feel like we're worthy of this treatment.
So can we talk about your fan base a little bit? You were mentioning that a little bit, and I just noticed how loyal. Like, you have one of the most loyal fan bases that I've seen in there. Definitely.
We had. I'd like to mention. There's this guy named Tino that came. He took a. We were playing in Pittsburgh on Wednesday night, last Wednesday, and we played in New York City on Tuesday. And this guy took a bus from Pittsburgh, even though we were already going to be playing there. He took a bus from Pittsburgh all the way to New York City to see our show, and then went back to Pittsburgh and saw the Pittsburgh show. So, that's some dedication. We had some people there last night that drove 5 hours. Wow. I think there was a couple of them. I think Milwaukee maybe, or Chicago. One of these shows had people from like 4 different states there. One Eye Doll fans from like 4 different states. Wow. So it's always really surprising. I'm like, man, I've never driven 5 hours to see that.
Yeah, I feel like one Eye Doll fan has the energy of, 100 other fans, I mean, Orgy fans are amazing too, so I think they're right up there with One Eyed Doll fans. But I feel like really, really lucky to have such dedicated fans. I mean, there have been a couple shows that I've just been like, oh, that went awful. We totally sucked, But the fans are just, super, super stoked and excited and gracious. And, they either pretend really well that they didn't notice, I forgot all my words, or didn't know how to play the guitar that night, or none of our stuff worked. They just, I don't know, they're in it for more than the music, I feel like. It's this almost like a lifestyle.
Do you feel some of that comes from playing? Like, I know you guys have played a lot of the anime conventions and things, and I think a lot of that same loyalty carries through from fans that go to these conventions and everything.
Have you done the conventions before? Have you been to these? Have you, Mike?
No.
It's its own world,
It is. I've definitely heard.
It's kind of like a Burning Man, or these kind of get-togethers where certain kind of types of people get together. The conventions they're just jam-packed with people who want to be a fan of something, and they're looking for art, and they're looking for expression, They're really...
I think it's the one place they find where they can be themselves.
Yeah.
And there's no judgments. There's no, they can dress in costume, they can do what they want to do, and nobody's pointing fingers.
In fact, you're expected to be in costume. And
you're looked at funny if you're not.
Yeah, and these kids, they go to these conventions, and they feel like a rock star because people are taking their pictures, and, if their costume is good, and if they can work on, and most of the costumes are handmade. They work on them all year. It's like their big Halloween day. They all go out and they get into character, and they become these characters. It's just so cool. So they're definitely our people.
So, and speaking of the fans, and how amazing and dedicated they are, we get asked all the time, oh, what label are you guys on? You guys are on these big tours with Orgy and OTEP and Static X and Cold and all these big bands. What label are you on? And we're like, we do it all ourselves. It's all DIY. And the only reason that we can do that is because our fans choose to support us financially. We have our music available for name your own price, $0 to whatever. And, some people choose to pay $100, they choose to pay $500 for an album, and that's what keeps us going, because we hardly get paid at all to do these shows. I mean, not enough to cover the gas.
Right.
Yeah, which we're very lucky to be paid. Most bands buy on to tours, and we are paid instead.
Yeah, and that's because we have a strong, dedicated fan base, and we have people coming out to every show, and it's really
at
cool.
least a few. I mean, there's some cities where it's like, wow, okay, there are a few people here, but they're wearing One Eyed Doll shirts. Yes.
So and for a band, an independent band, doing it all on your own, that's like it's really tough to get by and make a living doing that. So we really have to thank our fans for supporting us and allowing us to keep have at least enough money in the bank account to fill up the gas tank and get to the next show. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of the record industry is complaining about the internet and the download situation and stuff like that, but we're living on our downloads. If it weren't for that, we wouldn't be making a living right now.
Yeah, I think you guys are doing it very creatively too. Some bands, I don't know, they're almost afraid to put the donation thing up there. They're afraid to do, it's asking too much, but it's really not, because, in a sense, people are willing to do that. It's a new way to look at it, and the industry is changing all the time.
Yeah.
The pay what you want model goes both ways, because, there's a lot of kids in the Philippines that are into One Eyed Doll because we're associated with Adventure Quest World, this video game that we made some
Your
songs
characters
for,
in
and
that,
we're characters in
yes.
the game. And Kimberly's done a lot of voice acting, and
Okay.
you know, so and these kids, Adventure Quest Worlds is the same model. It's pay what you want. You know, you can start up for free, and then you can buy things in game, and that's how they finance it. But
we definitely Artix, who he's the creator of Adventure Quest Worlds and Artix Entertainment. He's like, you know, the god of his little universe. He shares a lot of the same direction as we do as far as that goes, and it's been really fun working with him. 'Cause
Yeah.
he really does care about his players the way that we care about our fans, and that, you know, they do the, you know, optional payment kind of thing, and he tries to interact with them. And
Well, that's awesome. It
And
sounds like you're not like completely locked in. I know like with stuff like World of Warcraft and stuff like that, they're like completely like locked in like membership. You know.
yeah, no, I mean you can do your membership thing and then get extra super goodies, but that's just the same as what we do. You know, if you can choose to get fan appreciation packages where we'll, like, you know, send you some goodies and stuff like that from a show as well, so you can get the download, and then you donate certain amounts, and then we'll reward people for that. But same with Artix, he does the same kind of thing.
well, and if you look at our demographics on like YouTube and our downloads and demographics from our webpage, we have a huge fan base in the Philippines and in Indonesia and these kind of
Brazil.
places where there's just a lot of kids where they're not going to be able to afford to actually pay for the music. You know, these are little kids, and they can get the music for free, and it's fine. You know, and that is you know, we love that. You know, and
We want people to have our music first, and then, you know, go from there. But go download it first, even if it's just for free. Just get it first, and get it from us so that you can have a high quality version, not on torrents.
Yeah.
I think when my first studio album, Hole, came out, we were the first to put it out on torrents. They're like, it's going to be out there, so let's
you
put
guys
the
do it
nice,
yourselves, though?
yeah.
Okay.
And you know, these days it's like, well, it's out there no matter what. Like the minute we release something, it's out on torrents,
and YouTube. You know, it's like, you know, the kids will download it, and then there'll be 100 YouTube videos with our song, you know, just the album cover and the song, and it's like, you know,
it's like, you beat me to it.
Have you like ever seen anybody do any cool fan videos?
Oh
and stuff
my
like
God.
That? Yeah.
Incredible videos. Like, there's one for Monster, actually, that's out there that's really impressive, and somebody just did a brief candle video for a school project. A lot of people do stuff for their school projects, and they'll make full-on music videos that I'm thinking, like, God, maybe I'll call them over. Maybe they want to do a music video for us sometime. This is good stuff.
It is. You gotta get we had to do it for college too, and it's part of the graduation requirements that you have to put together like a full
music video,
edit, production.
I almost think we should contact the, you know, whatever department at the schools and tell them, like, use our music for your videos.
They're always open for it.
Because they always have to ask permission and go through all this kind of
we had
stuff.
to get licensing and all that. I ended up using Voltaire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, like,
he's associated with Adventure Quest Worlds too. So.
Yeah, we know him.
Yeah, so I ended up using Ex-Lover's Lover for my...
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah.
I'm so gonna find it. We'll have to pull it up.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun, but we did have to go make sure we had proper permissions and all that, but the colleges are definitely open for it.
Yeah. A lot of it is just like YouTube will shut you down. It's not even anything else. It has nothing to do with the artist if you don't have the proper permissions. I've been shut down by different sites for posting our stuff. I'm like,
wait, it's mine.
Actually, yeah. They just automatically are like, oh.
What else is in store for 2012 for you guys after the Orgy Tour? You know?
Well, how soon is this coming out?
Probably I'd say within a week.
Okay. I'm not sure what we're supposed to announce yet.
We can always edit.
Really, you know, We don't have any tours that we can officially announce.
Okay.
But we have
But you
there's
can count on
things
the fact-
brewing around.
You can count on the fact that we'll be back on the road shortly after this.
Yeah.
And then,
Any festivals, anything like that?
we don't have anything that we can announce.
But yeah, good stuff. I wish we could just tell you, but
Yeah, we always have to
always
actually wait until we have a
possible.
contract in our hands, and then
That's
it's
cool.
like, okay, now we can announce it.
it's always possible to change, and then it's like as soon as we go ahead and say something, that's when it changes. Just dang it. Or they send us a thing. It's like, oh,
But we
let's
have
talk about it.
we have the album Dirty coming out very soon. We
Mhm.
have another album. It's finished, and hopefully it'll be coming out, 6 months later or something like that. And then we have a really awesome video that we just made with Patrick Kendall. That's super awesome, and
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Where'd you say you filmed the video?
In New York and Pennsylvania.
Okay, what part of PA?
just outside
Brandy
Philadelphia.
wine.
Brandywine.
Oh, that's our area. That's home
It
base
is?
for me. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so cold. It was sleeting the whole
Oh,
time.
man.
Of course, it was all outside too. And, of course, I'm wearing a bed sheet.
Yeah, it was
Barefoot.
extremely difficult. shooting that video.
Like, we went straight from the winter tour, which, I was sick for the whole time, into doing that shoot. It's just insane.
Oh, I can't wait to see
So
it.
cold.
I wanna see it.
It's totally worth it. Yeah, you can. It came out great. I'm really excited about it. We're getting the final edits. We're going back and forth on the final stuff right now with Patrick. He's such a ninja. This is the same guy who did the You're a Vampire video. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Same guy. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
real eye candy, just really neat and lots of cool underlying messages. And we're able to fit a lot of metaphor imagery into it.
That's great. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for taking time out to speak with me. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
well, thank you for giving us your attention.
No, no problem at all.
Publicity, we really appreciate it. We're 100% word of mouth.